Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
I feel with technology, there's so much and there's nowhere we cannot go to.
One of the biggest problems we have today are people not adhering to planning and also particularly building control.
I believe that I don't need more than a 3-bedroom apartment. But people still believe that I must own a mansion that shows that yes, I'm wealthy and all of that.
We need to be realistic and understand that we need to live in smaller and smaller spaces.
Most of the tradesmen you have are like apprentices, so they don't learn the proper ways to do things or even improve themselves to new technology, newer products, newer materials.
Why does everybody have to have an AC? Can you afford an AC? If you can't afford it, you don't need it. You have a window here, the air will pass.
So if you had one big challenge in architecture in Nigeria, what would that be?
Millennials are all in a hurry and millennials are very entitled.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
Make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Like, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Lagos has a population of over 21 million across nearly 1,000 square kilometers.
4 hours going to work and 4 hours coming back from work. That's a full-time job already, so it is a bad situation.
It's epic. I'll call it epic. I mean, someone described it as a tourist attraction.
The Tedola incident was principally as a result of mechanical factor on the fact of the vehicle.
Since the political capital moved from Lagos, the federal might that should support the role that Lagos plays for Nigeria is no longer there. And it's something that I think we need to continue to agitate for.
Let's talk about your book, The Conscious Life.
It took 5 years to write that book. I wrote it after I thought I kind of had enough from my own journey.
A select edition of Mona Lisa showing on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with repeat broadcasts on Friday and Saturday.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Country people, we thank one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Niger, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way they inside. Come out, fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Niger, every will enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with. These are Igbo ways. African
as your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023. Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we
needs
better
to
just
be
go
an
to the
Igbo
Southeast,
presidency.
finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
In recent times, getting employment is a major testimony. Getting a fantastic job, that's a cat with all the cream. So in what world does anyone ever leave that sort of job? Well, in this world. Not Your 9 to 5 show covers all the seemingly questions and intrigues.
I can't work for anybody. Number of times I spent with shoes, I see shoes in my dreams sometimes.
I can't be waiting for salary.
I know we have a lot of challenges.
Working for people is like starting from the scratch.
We have political issues, we have socio-economic issues, we have so many, we even have spiritual issues.
I don't think I can do 9 to 5 anymore. So this is not your regular 9 to 5.
It's my life, my world.
Join me, Amaka Okoye, on Not Your 9 to 5, showing on Monday 5:30 p.m. and Thursday 11:30 a.m. West African time.
Welcome to the station where big stories live. This is Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we spill and sip tea while analyzing the biggest entertainment stories. I am Ifeoluwa Oshunkere, and I'm here with Beniak and Nimi Dekambi. And most especially, today is Nimi's birthday, so it's only right we say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Let's do this.
Here comes the interesting part.
How old are you now?
How old am I?
A plus one. Should I spill?
No!
Well, you have to spill tea. I can let them all know.
All right, so she's Plus TV's plus one.
Yes.
Yeah. So happy birthday, girl.
Thank
Long
you.
life and
Thank you so
prosperity,
much.
and live your best life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so let's delve into the first story of the day. Naomi Campbell writes an open letter to Grammy Awards after Burna Boy's loss to Angelique Kidjo, and I think it's worthy of reading. She said, "First, I want to say deepest congratulations to Angelique Kidjo for our award on Sunday, and thank you to you for spreading the light and opening minds through your music. And to our African giants, Burna Boy, it is only due to lack of education that you have not been honored with the accolades you so truly deserve. You're always a winner in our hearts, always. And to the Recording Academy, there is something that brings joy, strength, and happiness to myself and to so many that hear it, and it is called Afrobeats. Afrobeats is a musical genre played on mainstream and primetime radio, not only across the continent of Africa." And I think she said this properly. I like the fact that she congratulated Angelique Kidjo, first of all, because Burna Boy is already a winner for going against a legend like that. And a lot of people have come to criticize Burna Boy, saying that, okay, they didn't want him to win because they felt it was going to affect his personality. Some said, obviously, with Angelique Kidjo being on that list, there was no chance in hell for Burna Boy to win. And some even said his album wasn't original enough.
They had a lot of samples.
So, yeah, so there's been a lot of controversies about this. But regardless, I think Burna Boy is still a winner, and I think... it's like Tyra Banks, I said Tyra Banks, like Naomi Campbell said, it's due to lack of education. Before the Grammy, there was a lot of inside propaganda going on about the CEO who had to step down, saying the working environment and all of that. So I think there's a bit of truth in all of this, and I think we need to start establishing that. The same thing goes on in the BET, by the way, so...
Yeah, I think I'll just say that one of the things she said when she was when she wrote a statement was that they should create a category for Afrobeats. They should have Afrobeats Best Album, Afrobeats Song of the Year, like they do for Latin pop. Because there's a category for Latin pop album, and then there's some other award shows that they create, maybe like a K-pop category, because this genres of music is gaining relevance in America. But would we say that Afrobeats has actually gotten to that level, like maybe Latin pop? Can we say that Afrobeats has got to that level that we'll not say, okay, we want to create a separate category for Afrobeats?
I believe so.
You think we have gotten to that?
Yeah, because when you're talking about Latin pop, I don't listen to Latin pop.
You've never heard Despacito?
Oh, that's one out of like a million.
And if you look at the success of Despacito, it really drew a lot of interest for different people into the Latin music industry, and there was now like a huge there was a huge explosion of Latin music. A lot of people listening to. If you look at a lot of if you look at their streams, their Spotify streams, that's huge numbers. So does Afrobeats have that amount of listeners?
Well, I think I'll let
separate
Benny say this. What do you think? Do you think Afrobeat has garnered that much recognition for them to have their own category?
Not as yet.
What?
Not as yet. Not as yet. I mean, we're going to get there eventually. Kudos to Naomi Campbell for voicing out. First, I want to say it was okay she said something.
Yeah, definitely.
And then secondly, she should understand that there was no grounds for comparison between Angelique Kidjo and Burna Boy. If it was an Afrobeat category, then we'll feel, what, Burna was deprived. But it wasn't Afrobeat. I mean, globally, Angelique Kidjo is a more recognized African artist than Burna Boy is. Yeah. We can't even take that away from her. She's the real Mama Africa, And so I understand her sentiments where she was talking about, Burna, their lack of education or miseducation was the reason why she
I think she only used the opportunity to voice out.
Yeah, to voice out that there are different genres of music.
Maybe at the end of the day, if it was just an Afrobeat category, then Burna stood a chance. Exactly. We're talking about the category was for best international music.
World music album.
So I'm sorry. Let's talk about many decades Angelique Kidjo has put into her craft. She has a great body of work recognized globally by world music bodies, which one of them is the Grammys. And I think the organizers of the Grammys should start paying attention, because Afrobeat is gaining momentum thanks to its pioneer, Afrobeat legend, Fela Anikulapo Kuti.
I think there's a difference between Afrobeats and Afrobeats.
Well, Afrobeat without the S, let's not get it confused. But
Afrobeats is actually Fela, Seun Kuti, Femi Kuti, but Afrobeats are the likes of Davido, Wizkid, and the likes.
So you still find the fusion of Afrobeat and what is generalized as Afro beats now, and then we're having a lot of Western people also infusing our Afro beats into their
exactly.
music.
So that is,
Beyonce and the likes of them, they're doing all that. So I believe with time, Afrobeat is going to gain more popularity for it to become a category in the Grammys. So not only that, kudos to Burna Boy and congratulations to Angelique Kidjo. I wouldn't have expected anything less. And Burna should be happy. That's a recognition for him. That nomination was a recognition by World Music Body, and it's a great deal.
And she also even she
dedicated
the award to him. So that is a huge deal on its own.
So big shout out to Burna Boy. You would always be a winner. The fact that you even went against the legend is a win on its own. So let's move on to the next story. Tyra Banks applauds Gabrielle Union for being vulnerable amid Americans Got Talent controversy. Tyra said in an interview with Yahoo, "I just thought that was really beautiful because a lot of the times in entertainment you have to put up this front. I'm strong and I'm this and I was wronged." So she was so vulnerable, and I also thought that was beautiful that her husband really supported her as well. Gabrielle was let go from America's Got Talent in December 2019 after she voiced her concerns about racism, sexism, and other stuff. So big shout out to Tyra because a lot of people have that position of power there. They have the platform to actually stand up against all of these things as black women, but I don't know whether it's, how do I put it now, whether they don't want to step on the wrong toes or being blacklisted, but a lot of them do not actually speak up, not because they do not experience these things in the industry, but someone like Gabrielle Union, she stood her ground and she spoke exactly what she thought, and I thought that was beautiful. And it's also good for people to show their vulnerability. And I'm not just talking about women, I'm also talking about men, because we know about the patriarchal pressure placed on a lot of men, and they feel like, oh, men are not supposed to cry, men are not supposed to show emotions. But I think it's okay for you to be vulnerable sometimes, especially when it's something you're passionate about. So big shout out to Gabrielle for standing up, and for Tyra Banks for also admitting that a vulnerability is also a lesson to a lot of people across the globe.
I think this story for me was particularly interesting because apart from the fact that I feel like a lot of the racism that goes on in Hollywood is greatly underreported. People don't really talk about it. For example, people always constantly talk about the fact that whenever it is time for Hollywood execs to cast black people in a movie, they always look for the light-skinned ones. But when it's time for them to portray maybe a slavery movie, they always look for the dark-skinned ones. So there has been underlying, talks about racism in the Hollywood industry. Colorism, there have been, these discussions have been happening. Now, for Gabrielle Union, she was beautiful and amazing in America's Got Talent. In fact, she was one of the reasons that a lot of people, started watching. A lot of people did not even watch. She brought in a lot of crowd. So it was very, very surprising and shocking when she was let go. And then when she explained the reason why she was let go, it was believable. It was not something that you were like, oh, I'm going to question. Because she said that one of the reasons the producers were complaining to her that her hair was too black. She was doing braids. Because Gabrielle did a lot of really flashy African hair, styles. And then the producers were always complaining that your hair is too black. And then she spoke up because there was this incident where one of the judges, I think, was racist to a Korean presenter where they said that maybe they eat pigs or something. And she spoke up for those people. So she was not just calling out racism against black people. She was calling out racism of any form and kind. So now, another thing I want to talk about is shout out to Tyra Banks for actually stepping up and supporting Gabrielle, because for Gabrielle Union, another black person that was on America's Got Talent, that expected to actually be like, okay, maybe I did not experience this, but I'm going to support Gabrielle Union on this. Terry Crews. And it was so disappointing because when Terry Crews had a sexual assault case, Gabrielle Union was one of the people who spoke up and said she supported him. Black men were really, really looking down on Terry Crews. In fact, he even said it in an interview himself that when he had that situation, the people that really supported him during this time were black women. Now it is time for you to give your support. You and this black woman are on the same show together. Render your support to this woman. That's when you're not saying the only person you can please is your wife. That's not what we're talking about. Nobody's saying you should please Gabrielle Union. We're saying that this is a fight against racism. Somebody is calling out racism in the workplace. You are being that black guy that wants to be the white people's friend.
Well, before I weigh in on your take on the whole Terry Crews situation, I'd just like to get Benny's take on this. So.
I didn't expect anything less from Gabrielle and Naomi. I'm sorry, Tyra Banks. I didn't expect anything less. But I think I won't go away from that. Yes, racism, it's palpable. There's just a whole lot of denial. And we have the whitewash project going on where a lot of black people claim to be black, but we don't know what their undertones, who really they're working for. You know, and that's why I'm not surprised about Cruz's comment. I mean, it comes a really whitish, you know, to me, if I should use any word like that. But I want to bring it home. You know, it's also a situation where we have happening even home here. I mean, it's not, it could be tribal, it could be based on tribal sentiments. You know, he's from my tribe, so I'm going to give him that job, or he's not from my tribe, I can't give him that job. And then recently there's been a call out on media houses that have been treating staff pretty bad. There's a whole lot of unwholesome activity that happens in the workplace, you know, but unfortunately, because whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. And most of these guys, they have nothing to hold on to, they have nothing to fall back to. So they stay in those unwholesome environments, those hostile work environments, those very volatile and very toxic workplaces. Because I need my check pay at the end of the day. And I think people should just learn to speak up. It's not just even the issue of racism. You know, very toxic workplaces, horrible bosses, you know, people who treat people anyhow. In many workplaces, there's a whole lot of emotional and verbal abuse that goes on between bosses, I mean, and subordinates.
Even between colleagues.
You know, and so we gotta learn to speak up at every point in time, you know, and for Gabrielle, I didn't expect anything less from her. And that should let people alive to see the fact that, you know what, the colors exist and we can't play blind to it.
All right,
you know?
so I think this is the time to talk about my reservation on the Terry thing, because at the end of the day, this is somebody who has been the host for a while. Terry has been the host. In as much as we expected him to show support to black women and all of that. Like he said, a lot of people are thinking about their paycheck. Now, what's the thing you're going to do afterwards? Do you understand? Terry has a lot of kids, if you want to think about it.
So that's the reason why he's going to be a sellout.
No. I'm not saying that he should be a sellout. Now, what he said was wrong, absolutely wrong. But if he had said, I'm not going to comment about this, we will still come against this man.
Terry Crews was just being politically correct, so it doesn't offend some people.
So I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, he wants to keep his job.
But to say what Gabrielle talked about and was justified.
He was gaslighting her.
He said he didn't experience it, and that it has been the most diverse show.
Yeah, diverse show.
Not experiencing it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
That it didn't happen to you doesn't mean someone else is not going through it. And I'm disappointed in Terry.
Very, very disappointed.
I'm
pretty much disappointed in Terry Crews.
I'm disappointed because he could have just
know better. He was trying to please his political connects. He needs a paycheck from hosting American Got Talent. You know,
I mean, Tyra Banks also hosted, you know, the show before. You know, but why is it that now she's saying that okay, she supports Gabriel? She also said that she did not experience that she cannot say that was the experience because she did not spend a very long time with them.
All right. So Terry, I think you need to do better. And big shout out to Gabriel for standing up for all the women out there and all the races. And to Tyra Banks was also shown support. Big shout out to her as well. But we'll be going on a break shortly. But before we go on this break, there is a tissue box that you need to see, and it's by the Stitch Layer. And because in 2020 you cannot afford to be boring, spice up your space with beautiful accessories. Visit at the Stitch Layer on Instagram to get yours today. Tea time. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the most entertaining entertainment show, and this is still Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. So back, moving on, Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth officially single again. Divorce finalized. Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth are officially single after their divorce was finalized around 5 months after the original filing. According to legal documents obtained by TMZ, a judge assigned the pair's divorce settlement, which was originally filed in December. And like we said yesterday, if you can't handle a relationship, if it's not working out for you, divorce is an option these days. It's not until you stay in a very unhappy marriage that's when you think you're living your best life, that you're trying to satisfy the society. So if it's not working out, even if it's after 2 months, 2 days of the marriage, actually, I think it happened in a marriage 4 days after, and he wanted to split. I think Nicolas Cage. Who was that? Who can remind me who that was?
What's that?
Somebody who broke up after 4 days of marriage, they said he was intoxicated during the marriage.
Oh.
It was a Hollywood actor.
Really?
You guys don't remember that
I can't remember, man.
Yeah, but...
You know, the phraseology in Irreconcilable Differences is pretty much ambiguous. Because the issues, the specific issues, it just can be what is irreconcilable differences on what regard to which aspect.
Yeah, but I think
but at the end of the day, it's their core, man. I mean, I don't think anybody should stay in a marriage if they're not happy about it, and if there are issues going on, you feel you can't handle and you can't deal with. That it's no longer it's not to die issue because many people have stayed in there and they've lost their lives, especially when there are issues of physical domestic violence. You know, so for Marley and Hemsworth, it's their life, it's their choice, their decision, and we cannot but just respect it. Whatever the irreconcilable differences was, I wish them well, and going forward, I hope they've learned a lesson, because lessons got to be learned. So you don't repeat the same thing if you ever decide to get married again in the next relationship. And Marley moved on pretty fast, because she's with somebody right now already.
No, I don't think
another part of that story, she's with somebody right now. Another part of the story that caught my attention and got me laughing was they're both happy, they're good, and they want to be dedicated parents
to their pets.
Yeah, they co-own pets. Yeah, but I think it's better for them to, at least there are no kids involved in their split.
This is a redefinition of parenting.
Parenting no, there are a lot. No, come on, there are a lot of American people who feel that way.
Yeah, but
when they share pets.
I'm the same billionaires who left all their fortunes.
You're catering to the pet. You're not parenting a pet. Let's define it.
For some of them, it's actually very deep. Okay, so for Liam and Miley, I would say that for somebody who has followed their relationship from the last song, the movie that they were in together.
Look at the smile on your face.
Yeah, I was really rooting for them. You know, when they got back together.
Don't root for nobody, baby.
When they got back together in 2018, I was like, yay, finally, this couple that, a lot of people have been, I won't say idolizing, but a lot of people have really rooted for. And then a few months down the line, everything just went they just separated and everything. But I hope that whatever it is that they've done, them taking this step, it is for their personal interests. And it will not be a case where anybody feels a longing for the other person, because even their family members have been complaining that their relationship is becoming toxic. Because they'll break up, they'll come back together, break up, come back together.
And they were together for exactly
They were together for a very long time. And now I hope that this divorce is just going to be the final one, and just say, okay, let's just be friends. Because another thing that people said is that, this irreconcilable differences is more or less like they had a clash of lifestyles. I think Liam wanted a family, conflict, of interest. Liam wanted maybe a family woman, and everybody knows that Miley Cyrus has said she's a girl who cannot be tamed. So I think that was where they had clashes and everything, because she actually addressed it in a song. She released them Slide Away after their breakup, when they separated and all of that. So they've come out to give statements and hints on why they separated and all of that. But basically, I just wish them well, and I hope that they just keep their separate ways separate and not come back.
Well, we can't be too sure about that. They may do the divorce thing, but it doesn't mean they'll not be seeing after hours. That's not because somebody you've been with for 11 years now, including their marriage. That's a serious relationship. Do you understand? So I feel they'll still have their time on, time off here and there, but the marriage thing isn't just working out. Not every relationship necessarily has to end up in a marriage.
Yeah, but they were dating for a long time. They did not plan on getting married.
That's what I mean by not every relationship. But everybody just believes that's the societal pressure we're also talking about. True. People just put pressure on you. Oh, you've been with this person for so many years. It's only right you guys get married. No, it's not only right. Sometimes it's just better being friends, or friends with benefits, or friends with this and friends with that.
Or you are dating.
You
guys be friends with benefits.
Or your FBs.
Yeah. So it's okay.
That is your partner. You guys are not legally married, but that is your partner.
It's a contract. I mean, you can be.
It's friends with benefits. The contract.
You can be FB. Yeah, it's a contract. It's some kind of contract also. Okay. I mean, it's an agreement.
We're not talking about
if you and I made together and say, well, let's just be FWBs, let's be friends with benefit. That's an agreement, right? That's what a contract is. A contract is an agreement.
But you know that when it comes to friends with benefits, it's not really exclusive.
No, it's not exclusive. But we have an understanding, we have an agreement, yes. Now, it depends on the clauses we now put, the conditions we include, in that agreement. That, okay, are we allowed also to mess around with other people while we're friends with benefits? Like that. Can we move on to Eriga? I think I want to
All right.
So rapper Enriga told women to stop saying all men are goats after heartbreak. He said, if it hurts you, you don't say all men as goats. Say Enakeno Omu living close to Winners Chapel is a goat. Don't involve my brothers, Biko.
Enriga got me there, I gotta say. You know, I'm tired of that hasty rule of generalization. You know, one guy messed you up, and then you tag all guys along with it. I'm sorry. And this is not basically even based on just relationship. We all go through ordeals every day in the hands of people. I'm sorry, some people are just naturally idiots you need to come across in life. And they exist in both sexes, both male and female. And so just because I had a bad experience with a female, either by way of an association, business, or relationship, doesn't necessarily make every other woman like her. I just had one bad experience with one woman. And so I won't use her to not generalize and say, all women are sluts.
But let me support women a little bit on that note, because I think we understand.
No, there's no. I won't support them because it seems like it's a war. Men and women are at war with each other, and it's not supposed to be. Not. You know, I just feel there's a segment of society that just wants to see that fight go on. You know, I mean, men are this, men are that.
Yeah. So now, what Enriga said, I don't really agree because basically...
Because all men are goats.
No, when people say men are scum...
Because I got to include your father and your brothers too.
When people say men are scum or men are goats... Men.
That's a compound
It does
noun.
not...
Everybody,
no. What we are talking about
English,
is not just relationship. It's not about a guy broke my heart. It's not. It's encompassing. Yeah. It's about a system that encourages the making women second-class citizens. It's not about, oh, this man broke my heart, that is why men are scum. It's about a system that encourages men to trample over women. And that is, we see several men, okay, you go to a man and say, okay, this is what happened. Man tells you that. But that is how life is.
Now,
so that's why we say men are scum.
I always ask all my female friends.
Is your dad scum?
Which man, no. Which man has trampled on your rights and say, you know, you can't achieve, you can't be anything you want to be?
It's not necessary.
Personal now. Which man in your life, which man have you experienced that have come to tell you, you know, Nimi, you can aspire to be anything?
How many women, let's start from Nigeria.
You know the answer to my question, man, babe. You know the answer to my question.
It doesn't have to be something that happens to you directly.
I understand the system.
It can be a system that works against you.
Don't get me wrong. I'm all for women because I feel the society we live in, the patriarchal system, the way it's set up, is adverse to the woman. Typically, stereotypically, unfortunately.
And that is why we say males are scum.
No, that's the point. You can't say men are. Now, there are men in your life who have given you wings to fly, who have told you, you know what, you just don't settle.
You can be all you can. But then there are now some other men that make our life extremely difficult.
But you just asked you a question and he personalized it.
Has there been any man in your life?
Yes. Anything of such?
Have I experienced?
Yeah.
There have been. I don't want to talk about it because it's actually personal, but there have been several instances where my right has been trampled on by a man. When you are sitting down in a bus, when you are sitting down in a bus and then a man feels like he has the right to your body. When you are walking in Yaba market and a man feels like he has the right to touch you, that is him trampling on my rights.
No, what do they call those people? There's something we call them. There's a name for them.
But you see people sitting, you see people sitting down and allowing these things happen. You see people allowing these things happen. You see people not doing anything. You see people not speaking up. That is why we say men are scum.
No, we see women not speaking up.
Not just women.
In this part of the world.
Women have been silent.
I don't think any man would. I don't think I'll be in that same bus with you and I'll say a man do that
and I won't speak up.
And I won't speak up. So I think the problem is, men, do you actually
times have changed?
Nimi, I'm not going to trivialize your experiences because they're your experiences and they're valid.
I'm
just saying, every woman out there who has felt
there are several women who have felt trauma like that.
Any woman out there who has felt trampled under by a man, maybe by virtue of a business association, a relationship, a marriage, I want to say, you know what? Not all men are that way. Okay, and it's a society. It's our society. It's the way it's built.
But if the shoe does not fit, move on.
You know, so at the end of the day, I think we have a patriarchal system we all need to deconstruct and redefine. About that, it doesn't make you a man if you feel every time you need to talk to a woman, you want to make her feel inferior to you. It doesn't make you any more of a man. Matter of fact, you're a man who has an identity problem. You're dealing with a whole lot of insecurity and esteem problem as a man. Because I feel at the end of the day, yes, we're all the same. We're not equal by virtue of purpose, by virtue of design. You know, there's certain things women can do a man can never do, and there's certain things men can do a woman can never do, and so it's complementary. And so if a man constantly feels the need to always put a woman under to feel validated of his masculinity, that man needs to check in the psychiatry.
Exactly. So yes, y'all, this is where we wrap up. And to every woman who has felt trampled upon, their rights trampled upon by anyone,
we apologize.
Know that we, the crew of Tea Time, we stand with you solidly.
We apologize to you, Nini.
Every woman who has felt that way. But it's time for us to take a bow on this episode of Tea Time. And we would say, have a great day. And remember, you can catch up on this episode and all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. You can also watch Tea Time on Alta TV and in London on Ben Television. My thank you as always goes to my co-anchors, Benny and Nimi, for their amazing contributions on the entire production team. I am Ife Oluwashinkere saying thank you for watching and see you in a bit.
My country people, you do well, so you join us inside News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa. This one, Adantori, we want some given until this very o'clock. My name, na Destiny Momo. President Muhammadu Buhari plus the cabinet ministers, they hold a meeting right about now for the Federal Executive Council and at the first FEC meeting for 2020. And it is shele for the Executive Council chambers for the Presidential Villa Abuja. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo himself he go attend the meeting. And plus the federal government don't approve the payment for 33,000 naira as a monthly allowance for members for the National Youth Service Corps NYSC. The Director General for NYSC, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, he disclosed this one during by one section with some corps members for the service Bauchi State Secretariat. Brigadier General Ibrahim, who have been there on working visit to the state, he cleared the air for the amount where they approve as monthly allowance for corps members. And he explained, say the approve being shell in line with the implemented for the new national minimum wage from the federal government. Ibrahim Yan say contrary to the various amounts where they done they circulate for social media, say the sum of 33,000 naira done they approved as the new rate. And properties away worth millions of naira don't they destroyed for the plenty fire for the popular Balogun market inside Lagos. The cost for the fire was shelled during by Wednesday morning, it never still burst out, plus the casualty figures as at when this report been filed. At least like 5 buildings, including of Anambra Plaza, have been catch fire. Then some traders for the affected buildings start to throw down all their goods, all their market through the window. The buildings they located for Sonny Adewale Martins Street inside the Lagos Island area for the state. And even firefighters plus officials for the Central Business District don't reach the scene, and then they make efforts to try everything inside their power to take an end of the fire. And 2 private companies where they give motorcycle service inside the Lagos state don't describe, say, waiting the decision of the state government do to take ban motorcycles inside the 15 council areas for the state, say it don't make sense at all. And say the companies Max plus Gokada, and say as investment where they run enter millions of dollars go lost, say thousands of people go they jobless. And say the firm when them been they insist to say they no go give them information before them been take they decide express shock say the state if he put them for the same level with a regular Okada riders. The chief executive officer plus a co-founder for Max Adetayo Bamiduro during by one press briefing for the company office for Ikeja on Wednesday, Yan say even though say they don't take 2 million trips, say the company riders then record less than 100 incidents, and he stress say less than 7 been they serious and he need a hospital visit. Plus say till date the company never gets any badness accident we kill person.
Initially I felt it wasn't going to affect us since given the fact that our bikes are above the recommended size, the QP capacities recommended by Lagos State government. However, when I found out was across board, I felt bad, like, okay, what am I supposed to do? It's a thing of survival now. I mean, myself and a lot of other riders out there make a living riding across the cities of Lagos. I mean, commuting people, moving people from point to point. We make a living doing that. What are we supposed to start doing afterwards? I mean, it's not. In over 4 years of our existence, we've recorded 0 fatalities, 0 death. The figures seem to me more bogus than real. We've put a lot in place to ensure that our riders drive safely and secured out there, and they don't get involved in accidents. And also, like I said earlier, are we talking about accidents across all modes of transportation? If yes, I mean, why single out Okadas to be punished for an offense all road users have committed? Why would you provide alternatives after taking out what is effective at the moment? I mean, it's just like trying to wean a child off milk. I mean, you're looking at weaning a child off milk without providing what the child will eat. You don't expect the child to stop crying until you provide an alternative. I mean, for me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to take out what's working on the grounds of providing alternatives that you've not even figured out yet. A couple of years ago, the government introduced the restriction of on the highways to just bikes above 200 cc's. I would think the ideal thing to do right now would be to enforce that law, to ensure that only bikes above 200 cc, 200 cubic capacity engine are allowed to ply our highways. I mean, look, given the number of people that benefit from this, given the lack of infrastructure, the road networks are bad, there aren't enough buses, this is supposed to alleviate movement and transportation across the states. Why take it out at the moment? Literally, they've closed all highways. I mean, calling out names is just to make it seem like they've not closed all. They've actually closed all. If you've closed Third Mainland Bridge and all major highways, all bridges across the states, you've literally taken out a source of livelihood. I mean, these are big bikes, power bikes. They're not designed to run short distances. They're designed to run long distances. Taking them out, I mean, blocking this highway simply means you are stifling the business, stifling a source of livelihood. At the moment, only engage the government and appeal on behalf of myself and other champions who make a living from riding across the city. I mean, not just the riders. I'm talking about artisans, the lady on the street that sells hairnets to the riders, the vulcanizer, the engineers that fix the bikes. I mean, it's going to have a very, very it's going to have far-reaching effects, and I'm not sure we've given due thought to the effects that banning Okadas on the highway would have on hundreds of thousands of people who make a living with and around Okadas. I mean, people work in the offices, people move their goods and services with Okadas, deliveries, individuals pay their school fees, their rents, their children's school fees, and make a living, put food on the table with these bikes that you're about to take off the streets of Lagos. Have we thought about replacing, giving alternative source of livelihood? So essentially, we can only appeal to the government to rethink the decision, and perhaps we'll be happy to come to the table to have a conversation around this on how to better structure the whole.
And the chairman for the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Barrister Charles Ezekwem, on Monday dropped a resignation letter wherein they withdraw no be the party chairman and a member for Imo State. Ezekwem will lead the party to victory inside 2019 gubernatorial election for the state until the Supreme Court can sack the governor, and he don't be the board chairman for Heartland Football FC. And when he will react to the sudden resignate, the publicity secretary for the party, Damian Okpara, after one closed-door meeting of some leaders. He and say, though they appreciate the effort plus contributions for Barrister Charles during by his tenure as the party chairman, but as in they go, say he no pose any threat to the party at all.
We had a meeting of the steering committee and the appointments of the government. A letter was for the state secretary of the party. But actually, Mr. Charles resigned his position, both as the state chairman and as member of the party. So actually, we read the letter, they seem with me feeling which there's nothing we can do than to accept his resignation and allow him to go and pursue the future in the party. He was a great chairman, a man that led the party to victory. So we wish him well.
And in still Yam said Damian said the party supporters still they intact and they still maintain their loyalty even though say their present situation they are CB. And he said soon the party will decide on their way forward.
Just had a little backtrack in administration. But in any case, he had left very soon in no distant time. Martin Chawa was there to take over the party. It will definitely, some of the friends will feel bad, but the party goes on.
And sake of the accidental killing for a renowned Action Alliance AA senatorial candidate inside the 2019 Imo North Senatorial District, Imo State, NDUBCA Medicaid in Nigerian Security plus a Civil Defense Corps NSCDC don't launch one full-scale investigation to enter the matter. And when he mean the yarn to newsmen for the command head office inside the state commandant Ibrahim Raji he regrets the develop. And in Syrian say the command is poised to take a review the actual matter for the incident. And he say as against the rumor where they go ground, say NSDC personnel no ever be oddly to the deceased. And he said the jubilant officer wearing gun caused the badness na AC Sydney Ogundoro where they attach one other important personality for the state. And then being the Princess Mariam honor her house to take congratulate her sake of say she win the election we make her federal lawmaker to take represent Okigwe North federal constituency. And the police will confirm the incident through the police public relations officer. He and say they fully know of the badness plus investigation they ongoing to take know the mirage behind the matter.
The query is already written because it's in the under the police net. When the police release him to us, he will now face the serious interrogation in our own way because we are serious-minded and the disciplining officers. We respect discipline and we respect human beings, and that is why civil defense it is civil in nature, and we believe in that civility in carry out our daily operation.
So we want to use this opportunity to tell the youths of the area, especially the area where the politician came from, we want to appeal to them to remain calm. We are on top of the situation. The officer in question that caused the infraction has been arrested, so there is no need for them to take laws into their hands or maybe go and cause further damage. We are on top of this situation and will ensure that justice.
And before in that, MNK been done reveal to close friends to say he go declare intention to take a run for the Imo North Senatorial District once the late Senator Benjamin Uwajumogu done be buried. And the federal government don't tell the National Institute for Security Studies make them do their work well and do waiting then talk. And the secretary to the government for the federation, Boss Mustafa Itrowe this yarn inside Abuja as they inaugurate the governing board for institute. Mustafa say he gets confidence say with the board when they don't day in place, so the capacity for the federal government to take a solve the big of a security challenge for the nation say it don't day richer.
With the tenacity of purpose, focus, and a burning desire to excel, I have no doubt that you can achieve the overall objective for the establishment of the Institute, namely, making a difference and contributing to the security and stability of our dear country.
We recognize the fact that there are several challenges that are facing the nation. Our belief is that we can contribute to mitigating the various challenges that are facing the nation. So it is our intention really to nurture an institute that will be unlike the other institutions, because we intend to actively participate in the process of advising the government as well as enhancing professionalism in the various services.
The news will continue after this short break. We'll come back just now. And inside African news, the Sudan suspects say 2 of their citizens will return to the country from China. They don't be infected with the new coronavirus. The information minister, Nanyan Reuters. And one of the pair, 1 man plus 1 woman, and don't the region for the Chinese city for Wuhan, the epic center for the virus. Say Faisal Saleh, the 2 of them, they under medical checks. Plus South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa don't see the gbege inside Libya plus South Sudan as a focus for South Africa when they go to chair the African Union AU this year. He said this gbege need the talk for those where then fit assist African countries to take fine solution as they added some case when it fit to cause this waka. And this indirect talking for especially Turkey plus Russia when they be close ally of South Africa as part of the BRICS economic grouping. South Africa don't be part of peace effort for both countries for plenty years now as part of the AU high-level committee for Libya plus a high-level ad hoc committee for Obodo, South Sudan. And information where they come next now our Obodo Oyibo news. Will they come back just now? And inside of Obodo news, the U.S. Senate to go start up to 2 days for questioning for the prosecution plus the defense inside President Donald Trump impeachment trial and during by Wednesday. Before crucial vote later for the week on the top of whether to call witnesses. The questions will go alternate between Republican plus Democratic senators go they submitted for writing and then go read them loud. And now the U.S. Chief Justice John Roberts could do this one maybe the trial before the trial to take a determine if Trump is supposed to come out from office. The question fit today directed at either the Democratic House prosecutors or Trump legal team, or it will take them to 8 hours a day during by Wednesday plus a Thursday. And Russia plus China, they work to develop one coronavirus vaccine. One Russian diplomatic mission inside China, Nanyang this one during by Wednesday, say Beijing still hand over the genome of the virus to Moscow. People, when they don't die inside China from coronavirus, don't enter 132 during by Wednesday, with the number of confirmed cases when they don't die nearly 6,000. The Russian consulate inside the Ganzhou province talk for 1 year, say Russian plus Chinese sabi people don't start to develop one vaccine. And it's not clear if Russian plus Chinese scientists, they work together or different, and they no fit to reach the consulate inside Guangzhou. And if I know it, so they come next, now our business story. Don't go anywhere, but they come back just now. And inside business story, key macroeconomic indicators will shape the Nigeria economy for 2019. Some of them are the ACFTA agreement, open market operations sales review, and U.S.-China trade conflict, U.S. Federal Reserve cut benchmark rate. Even self, we Obodo Nigeria think tank don't make a projection for 2020 then use the NESG computable general equilibrium model, where then they use to analyze the impacts for different policies for major macroeconomic indicators, where include production, income plus savings, demand, international trade price plus others.
Certain things are driving the economics of this country, and we live in fear. Many people are poor. Most people are poor. Most people find their businesses tanking. People are working much harder for less, so there's something wrong. What must we achieve? It's fundamental that we achieve growth, but not just growth, inclusive growth. It's fundamental that we create jobs, and it's fundamental that we drag the over 100 million people that we have in poverty out of poverty.
We're not just talking about growth, we're talking about lifting people out of poverty.
So the question or the challenge is, it's not just enough to create jobs. We must ask ourselves, what type of job? Because as we see here, one of the reports by World Bank says that Africa, and by extension Nigeria, has the largest number of working poor. So in this sense, you can work, you can be working, but you are still labeled poor, right? So we should shift our focus from looking at giving out jobs as a solution to ending poverty into reframing the thinking and say, quality job matters. World economy runs on two wheels. One wheel is economic or trade. The second wheel is financial or capital flows. The trade wheel is weak. It's not just weak for Nigeria, it's not just Nigeria that is losing export revenue. It's weak for the world. It's weak for every country. So countries today actually join the race for the cheap global liquidity to mitigate the losses from trade. And that's the race that Nigeria needs to join. So Nigeria has suffered a steep loss of liquidity, which has caused growth deceleration. So rather than identifying growth as our number one priority, raising liquidity threshold should be our number one priority. And we should engage ourselves, public-private sector, what can you do, to get.
And Boeing could expect like a $19 billion for cost where they relate to the grounding for a 737 MAX jet. The U.S. plane maker say on Wednesday as it is swing to the first annual loss since 1997, and it shows it could cut production again for the bigger 787 Dreamliner aircraft. The Dreamliner wide body now the main source for cash for Boeing as it battle the global grounding for the smaller 737 MAX sake of a two crash we killed 346 people. The MAX grounding forced the plane maker to freeze production of the aircraft and led to the ouster for the former Chief Executive Officer, Dennis Muilenburg. And still for front on Top Plus TV Africa News, now our roundup on top entertainment plus sports news. With a comeback just now. And inside entertainment, Kanye West go they kick off a Super Bowl on Sunday, February 2, with spiritual experience from Miami, Florida. The rapper make the announcement for his social media page, which shows say the event go shele by 11 a.m. for the FPL Solar Amphitheater for Bayfront Park near the site for the Super Bowl. So it go mark West's first return to Miami since in debuting in rock opera Mary as part of the City Art Festival last month, December 2019. Singer Demi Lovato go sing the national anthem for the Super Bowl. Then Jennifer Lopez plus Shakira will perform the halftime entertainment. The Super Bowl then they set to take place on the 3rd of February 2020. And also we take end entertainment news, the very best on Top Sports. They come after this small break. Will they come back just now? And inside sports, world number 5 Dominic Thiem don't defeat world number 1 Rafael Nadal for 4 sets away last 4 hours 11 minutes to take a reach in first Australian Open semi-final inside Melbourne. Thiem went on lost to Nadal for the past 2 Roland Garros finals, claim 1 victory against the Spaniard inside each ATP Tour season since 2016. The Austrian previous 4 wins against Nadal enter clay matter. I think Don't be the only second Austrian player to take a reach the last 4 inside Melbourne, sake of the footstep of 2-time semi-finalist Thomas Muster. The 26-year-old will go meet Alexander Zverev for the last 4 with 1 spot for Sunday final with the at stake. And Arsenal don't complete the signing for defender Pablo Mari on top of loan from Brazilian outfit Flamengo until the end of the season for fee for £4 million with option to take by Mari. Mari scored 2 goals inside the 22 appearance for the Brazilian Serie A side when he joined for July 2019, and it will be Mikel Arteta's first signing after him take over as an Arsenal Oga. And that now a roundup for events we shall during by this very o'clock. For more news updates, I bet follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it go make a bonga sense if you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We go come back later with more stories where they make background headlines. On a well done. My name na Destiny Momo.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now. Wow. And that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dollar, everybody feeling alright.
I still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
sleeping early.
Lagos has a population of over 21 million across nearly 1,000 square kilometers.
4 hours going to work and 4 hours coming back from work. That's a full-time job already, so it is a bad situation.
It's epic. I'll call it epic. I mean, someone described it as a tourist attraction.
The Otedola incident was principally as a result of mechanical factor on the fact of the vehicle.
Since the political capital moved from Lagos, the federal might that should support the role that Lagos plays for Nigeria is no longer there. And it's something that I think we need to continue to agitate for.
Let's talk about your book, The Conscious Life. It took 5 years to write that book. I wrote it after I thought I kind of had enough from my own journey.
A select edition of Mona Lisa showing on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with repeat broadcasts on Friday and Saturday.
Cooking is all about people. Food is maybe the only universal thing that really has the power to bring everyone together. No matter what culture, everywhere around the world, people get together to eat. This is a popular saying from Guy Fieri, and it is on this note that we get into today's episode where we feature talented and most creative lady, Weyemi Orisha Jaffo, who quit her 9-to-5 on administration with various notable firms to begin something interesting she is passionate about, which is cooking. Today, she is the CEO of Bayleaf Restaurant.
Welcome.
So my name is Waimi Orishajafo. I studied finance and economics to the postgraduate level. I worked and lived in the UK for many, many years, and I moved back to Nigeria in 2012. Moving back to Nigeria was an eye-opener. I wanted to come home because I'd had enough of living abroad. I missed my family. I missed being at home. I missed the vibe of Nigeria, of Lagos specifically. Coming home during the holidays, you know, I was happy. And then going back, be depressed. So I took the decision, I said I'd come back home. So came back home, what to do? Did my NYSC. I served with an oil company. I actually enjoyed my NYSC year. But then the common problem, NYSC ends, what do we do? So I spent a couple of months applying, going for interviews and all that, and I eventually started working in an oil and gas servicing firm. But surprisingly, I started working in learning development. So I used to organize training programs for oil and gas professionals. I would facilitate some of the trainings and things like that. It had nothing to do with my discipline, but in typical Nigerian way, you make the best of where you find yourself. So as I had previously said, I did this for about 3 years, and then the downturn in the oil and gas industry happened. And of course, when you have to cut your budget, one of the first things that will go is your training budgets, which would then impact on me. So it was tough. So instead of facilitating the trainings and putting trainings together, I was kind of becoming a marketer and a business development professional, which was a completely different thing to what I wanted to do or where I wanted to be. I've always heard that no skill is a wasted skill. As much as that's not what I wanted to do or where I planned to be, whatever little I learned doing business development and marketing there, I found has been extremely useful for me doing my own business. So anyway, going through that, it was tough. It was tough. The 9 to 5 was getting really tough, and it got to a point where, unfortunately, I'd wake up in the mornings and be like, oh, I have to go again. And when you get to that point in life where you're not excited to want to go to work, you're not excited to want to attack the day, should I say, then you need to give it a rethink. So the thoughts I'd been playing with, or should I stop the 9 to 5 and do my own thing? These thoughts started taking root and developing. So until the time came and things worked together for good, and I decided to take a leap of faith and do my own thing. And Bayleaf was born. My greatest joy is here. I love seeing people happy when they've eaten food, especially new customers who come in and they're doubtful because we're just a small business. Not a lot of people have heard about us. And they come in and you sell to them and you say, just give us a chance. And then they eat the food and then they come up to you and they're so happy and then I'll be back. That actually gives you joy. Like, yes, it's worth it. It's completely worth it. No matter what the challenges are, it makes it worth it. They left here with a smile. You know, they acknowledge that the food is not generic. You know, so that is a joy for me. It gives me joy that I'm able to employ people. My employees are happy. The people that work for me are genuinely happy. I can engage with them and, you know, they can tell me anything, they can talk to me, and what they're doing on a day-to-day, I can see from the product of their hands that they are happy. So that also gives me joy. My greatest joy is that we just made it to 1 year. That we were able to break that barrier of 1 year and we're still standing. No matter what the challenges are, no matter what we go through on a day-to-day, we've made it to 1 year. So at this point, I can truly sit back and say the sky is the limit. We can do anything at this point. That fear is gone. So one thing, being that it's the food business, there's one challenge I've had. It's not actually a challenge, but you know, you're dealing with the customers, you're dealing with the public, So customer service, yes, your customer service has to be 100%. But one thing I found is everyone has an opinion. Some people do come in and they're ready to criticize you. No matter how great the food is, they're ready to criticize me. And I've had to teach myself not to take it personally. As much as I love my food, I love what I do, I've told myself that if somebody takes the time to criticize my food or give me feedback, it's because they care. It's the person that cares that will give you feedback. The person that is upset about your food and walks away and never comes back is not invested, does not care. So I appreciate that, but I do have to spend a lot of time filtering the opinions and feedback I get. I find that everybody has something to say about the business and how we're running it, about the food. And all you really can do is say thank you. You smile and you say thank you. The ones you feel that, yes, I can learn from, you take it on. Some you do have to, just let go of. And at the same time, listening to all these opinions on a day-to-day basis, it's made it really important for me to know what I want from my business. Get a bigger picture of the business. 5 years down the line, what do I want from my business? This is my plan. I need to stick to it. No, I shouldn't let people's opinions come into it and veer me off my path. I spend a lot of time during the day actually doing that, planning the business, trying not to let other people's opinions, trying not to be swayed by what other people are doing and saying, should I say. So that's one of the challenges we have.
So I just asked someone around, a friend that works in IRS, and recommended this place. And then ever since then, when you're getting premium products for not so premium price. So that's what Bailiff is all about. So, because if you sell this somewhere else, you probably get charged double or another 50% more than what she's charging. But so you're getting premium food for not so premium price. So I think so. I feel like, okay, yeah. So that satisfied me. Actually, if you try the chicken, it's awesome. It's like off the chains. The fried rice, the jollof rice, the meat pie, yeah, and of course, fada, everything you have tried. So also coming here is from business sort of if you look at this was supposed to go for. I have a presentation today, so this was to go for people I'm going to talk to. So ever since then, I've been loyal to them and. Never for one day I've ever disappointed. Always on time, delivery, rapport, on point. That's why I would call away me. I forgot his Bailiff. So we have a personal relationship now, still on business, within the limits of business. So very good one. So you all should give it a try.
I accidentally discovered this place when I'm actually a foodie, and I'm very picky. So one day I saw this place, like the building, and it was really beautiful. And I saw the first thing that attracted me was the graffiti outside. I was like, okay, what happens here? Okay, let me find out. Okay, so I now came in. I'm like, okay, hi. What do you do? So she told me, and I said, okay, let me try your meat pie. Now, I really love meat pie because the very last time I've eaten meat pie was Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs made me love meat pie, and I love their recipe. It's crispy, the potato is well baked, everything. So I was like, okay, let me try her meat pie. If she gets it right with the meat pie, I can buy any other thing. So I broke the meat pie, I ate it. I was like, oh my God, this is it. So I bought the meat pie, and then I also bought her turkey, because I found out that she caramelizes her turkey. So it's not just a regular deep fried turkey, like it's spicy when you eat it. So I bought the turkey and I left. So I live in the estate not quite far from here. So I know many foodies there that are always very hungry. And I'm like, look, I found this place. So you guys should come here and let's try it out. So one day like that, we were many and we came, and just like that, it's like a ripple effect, and they be telling people. So initially, when I had this discussion with her, I was like, okay, I know this location and all that. Like, how do you intend to break even? So she told me her plans, and I encouraged her because I know that, yes, running a quick service restaurant business in Nigeria is not easy. You know, the capital, as in labor, capital, everything. So she's very encouraging, and my prayer for her is that in the next 5 to 10 years, she has like multiplied in so many locations. So for me, as in entrepreneurship in Nigeria is a big one, and seeing somebody that is putting her all, maintaining the quality, everything, the customer service and everything, for me is a plus. So yeah, Bayleaf has come to stay.
My business challenges, I will tell you on a day-to-day, it's just, let me just say, power. Power is my main challenge. Sometimes I sit there and I imagine, what if power wasn't an issue? It will make life so much easier, because what it costs to run a business, especially a food business, I basically need power 24 hours a day. Reliable power, constant power. So I'm having to spend a lot of my capital buying diesel, buying petrol, servicing and maintaining generators all the time. Even when we're short, I need to run because I have stock in my freezer. So power is a main problem for me. Apart from that, I would say personnel, finding the right people. It's absolutely heartbreaking that sometimes you get amazing people, they stay with you and you train them in the way you want them to be, and then they leave. What do? You just have to keep at it. But power, personnel, yes, I will say sometimes the bills. Apart from that, yes, we have to pay our taxes, pay your taxes. But you know, when you've had a month that is not as amazing as you would like, it's pretty painful to have to pay your bills at the end of the month. But it has to be done. Yes, it sounds. I do have a passion for cooking, and I cook a lot. Right when I was in uni, a lot of my friends used to come to my house to eat. So it's always been something I loved to do. So when it was time to quit my job, I had a couple of months just before quitting where I thought, what do I do? I know I'm not the most creative of people, so going down the, I want to be a makeup artist or I want to be a designer route would just be me being untrue to myself. So I was like, why not do food? Something that I love to do, something I understand. I love feeding people. I love people. And then something started happening. I used to work on the island and I would finish work about 9 o'clock at night. And then driving back home, I would think, I don't want to eat food at home. I'm really, really hungry. I don't want to eat food at home. I don't want to go out of my way to get food. I want something really good, really nice, but along my route home. Something I could just pick up and just jump back into traffic and leave.
I'm specializing in catering and baking, and I work as a supervisor in Bayleaf. For starting, working here is a big pleasure for me. And I've worked in so many places. And I would say Bayleaf, they have a nice setup. The food is good compared to what I've worked before. You know, they have a unique way of, you know, making their food, which is very good when it comes to customer service. And
your experience of
apart from that, she's my boss. She's the nicest person I've ever worked with. And no matter what I do, she always try, you know, as possible to speak to me as brother, which I really like about her.
This is not your regular 9 to 5, but this is my life. My name is Waimi Rishajafo. Welcome to Bayleaf.
Still here on this episode, we bring you the compelling story of Bruno Oraihinang, banker turned barber. After many years in the banking sector, he is now the proud owner of the famous Bruno's Place and have several branches around the country and abroad.
I worked in the financial industry for over 10 years. Over 10 years. But there was a point when it became so tough in the bank. You know, it's like they were trying to, just because they had to raise capital and all that, the targets started increasing and increasing. And there were a lot of pressure, you know, and all that. So, and the bank, you know, banking said they were trying to also downsize, you know, just to cut costs. So it was at that time that I was asked to resign. But one interesting thing about when I was asked to resign, I always say this, you know, about 3 of my colleagues were asked to resign alongside with me, you know, but no, many people were asked to resign, but 3 of my colleagues died because they couldn't handle the shock. But see, today I'm alive, I'm giving out jobs to people. This business was born out of necessity. I wanted to do something that put food on the table, and the only thing that occurred to me to do was, you know, set up a barbering salon. And I didn't know any jack about barbering salon. So what I did, I started a small place, you know, and I employed people just to be doing the job because I wanted something that would just give me money. You know, you are coming out from the bank, you know, no job, but I needed something that I would do that would give me money. So that's how this thing started. Well, here, it's quite different. I could remember when I was working in the bank, you know, you have to wake up 4:30 in the morning, and because you want to, just because of a hold up, you don't want to get caught up in the hold up. You have to leave your house early just to get a walk. Let me give you a small story. There was a particular day, you know, that usually those days when I was going to work, I don't wear my shoe. What I do, I wear slippers because I was going to drive. So that this particular day, I stopped by the kitchen just to drink water. Then after drinking the water, I entered my car. Because I was rushing, I got to work very early, stayed inside the car, you know, I slept for some time. So when it was time for me to get inside the office, I remember that I didn't have my shoe. I forgot my shoe where I was drinking water. So I had to rush back, you know. I rushed back, I made it. But when I was coming back, then I saw the traffic. That was when I told myself, this is not something I would do for life. So I started thinking of a plan B. I still wake up early, but I don't rush the way my colleagues, you know, in the bank can rush. But you're like, I have my time, I have my freedom, you know. And here, when I was working in the bank, I was enjoying the money, I was getting the money, but I was not getting the satisfaction. But doing this, I'm getting the satisfaction and I'm getting the money. So there's a balance. When you hear people talking about challenges, doing a business like this, they will expect me to talk about money, you know. But I want to tell you that money is not a challenge, you know. When it comes to doing a small-scale business, I will tell you why. You know, one other challenge too that also people worry about in this business too, staff that are mobile, they don't stay, you know. So, to me, it's not really a challenge because I find my way around it. I've always believed, you know, before working in the bank and while working in the bank that people don't really buy what you sell. They buy into you first before they buy what you're selling. You know, so before you go into any business, before you do anything, you have to take time, first of all, to work on yourself. You have to build your personal brand, you know. If you build your personal brand very well, you will attract money and you will attract people. That is what worked for me. You know, when I was going to set up this business, this is the mall. This is the most expensive mall and the busiest mall in this country. This is the Ikeja City Mall. You know, to set up a salon in the mall, and this is the first salon in the mall in this country, you know, is a lot of money. Do you understand? But because people saw the way I was going about it, they saw the way, you know, they saw my personal brand. When I started it, I was dressing, just the way I was dressing to go to the bank was still the same way I was dressing to come to even the small place that I was using inside somebody's shop, downstairs, I wear my suit tie, pocket square, doing hair. I wear designers doing hair. And people were wondering, who is this? You know? So that one alone put crowd. That one alone, you know, put people, you know, who helped me at the initial stage. And at the same time, some of my staff, they were challenged because they've never seen something like this. So that was how I dealt with all those challenges. At the initial stage, I got people to give money to study, you know, but within a period, I paid back, you know. So I didn't use my money to start it, but I used what they called OPM, other people's money, just because they believed in my personal brand. Major challenges I would have faced, I dealt with it before starting the business. For instance, I knew about the business. I didn't just start it just to make money. When I started the business, I got a private teacher who taught me for a whole year how to braid, how to barb, how to do all kinds. I knew the business, not just the skills. I also went to understudy somebody who was big in the business. You know, I picked somebody who was big in the business. I stayed under the business for a couple of years so that I can get to understand the key success factor behind the business. So when I started, you know, I was doing so many things at the same time. I was doing branding myself. I was doing accounting myself. I was doing cashiering. You know, I had the basic knowledge. You know, I knew about barbing. I knew about fixing of hair. I knew about retouching. I knew about doing. There was a time I was doing DD. You know, so I know all the basics. You know, there was a particular thing that happened. There was this lady, a staff that I got. So she was making a hair for a customer. So I was trying to correct her. So she felt offended and she left the hair halfway. And she left. Just imagine I didn't know how to do the hair. What would have happened? It would have been a challenge, but because I knew how to do the hair, I was able to resolve the situation. So that's why I say most of the challenges that people have when they want to start business, you know, because I was prepared for this, you know, I was able to deal with it. Bruno's Place is more than a salon. People see Bruno's Place on the surface level as, you know, a place where they just come and make their hair, but it's more than a salon. This place is what I would call a school. It's a school. Because in Bruno's Place, we have 3 departments. We have what we call IAS. We have what we call the IAS, Integrated Apprenticeship Experience. Here we emphasize more on the skills, you know. That's the type of work that we do. The fixing, you know, the cutting of hair, the pedicure and the manicure, the nails and all that. You know, we don't really stress much on the skills because anybody that's working in Bruno's Place has basic knowledge. But what we emphasize at that level is standard. You know, we want to be a reference point to every other people out there. You know, so that's why we stress more on the standard. Then the second aspect of Bruno's Place is we call it the IAX 102, where we get to teach our staff, you know, about the vision, you know, the purpose and the mission, you know, of what Bruno's Place stands for. You know, those days, people used to think that this kind of business for dropouts, you know, is for people who, the less privileged, people who are looked down on. But we decided to turn it around because I find that there's a difference between schooling and education. I feel very happy, feel very excited, you know, being an employer of labor. You know why? Because I was asked to resign and 3 of my colleagues died. But today I'm alive, giving out jobs. Now I have over 100 staff. I'm always looking forward to end of the month because that's when, you know, I get to see the smile on my staff faces when they get to see the alerts. You know, the plan is for us to expand because we have a prototype now. Just imagine you have a Bruno's Place in 36 states. If with 2 branches we can employ 100 staff, imagine the number of people we're going to employ. The truth is not because we want to make money, because we want to give jobs out. We want to give jobs. It gives me joy, you know. I have the opportunity, you know, to transform lives, you know, and to add value to people.
My name is Musa. I work as a barber in Bruno's Place. I started Bruno's Place in Abuja 2017. Then I was earning 45 to 50,000 naira. But as for now, I earn more money than what I earned before. So, and I'm really happy working in Bruno's Place because it's really transformed my life.
My name is Abisola Shakira. I've been working in Bruno's Place for the past 5 years now. And since then, when I was working in Magodo, I wasn't able to school then because I couldn't have enough cash to run myself to school. Then from there, since I got here, I was able to school. I got married. You know, so far so good. Mr. Bruno is a good person.
This is not the regular 9 to 5. This is my life.
Lagos has a population of over 21 million across nearly 1,000 square kilometers.
4 hours going to work and 4 hours coming back from work. That's a full-time job already, so it is a bad situation.
It's epic. I'll call it epic. I mean, someone described it as a tourist attraction.
The Tedola incident was principally as a result of mechanical factor on the fact of the vehicle.
Since the political capital moved from Lagos, the federal might that should support the role that Lagos plays for Nigeria is not longer there. And it's something that I think we need to continue to agitate for.
Let's talk about your book, The Conscious Life. It took 5 years to write that book. I wrote it after I thought I kind of had enough from my own journey.
A select edition of Mona Lisa showing on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with repeat broadcasts on Friday and Saturday.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
Hello and many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are some of the stories making headlines. My name is Felicity Ezewike. President Muhammadu Buhari and cabinet ministers are right now holding a meeting of the Federal Executive Council. It is the first FERC meeting in 2020. It is taking place at the Executive Council chambers of the Presidential Villa Abuja. Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo is also attending the meeting. The federal government has approved the payment of 33,000 naira as monthly allowance for members of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC. The Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, disclosed this during a session with some corps members at the Service Bauchi State Secretariat. Brigadier General Ibrahim, who was on a working visit to the state, cleared the air on the amount approved as monthly allowance for corps members. He explained that the approval was made in line with the implementation of the new national minimum wage by the federal government. Ibrahim noted that contrary to the various amounts being circulated on social media, the sum of 33,000 naira have been approved as the new rate. Properties worth millions of naira appeared to have been destroyed in the raging fire at the popular Balogun market in Lagos. The cause of the inferno, which broke out on Wednesday morning, is yet to be ascertained, as well as the casualty figures as at when this report was filed. At least 5 buildings, including Anambra Plaza, were caught in the fire, while some traders in the affected buildings threw down their goods through the windows. The buildings are located on Sunny Adewale Martin Street in the Lagos Island area of the state. However, firefighters and officials of the Central Business District, CBD, have arrived at the scene and are making efforts to put out the fire. We'll bring you updates on that story. 2 private companies providing motorcycle services in Lagos State has described as insensitive the decision of the state government to ban motorcycles in 15 council areas of the state. The companies, Max and Gokada, said while investments running into millions of dollars would be lost, thousands of people would be jobless. The firms, while insisting that they were not consulted before the decision was taken, expressed shock that the state could put them in the same group with regular motorcycle riders. The chief executive officer and co-founder of Max, Adetayo Bamiduro, during a press briefing at the company's office in Ikeja on Wednesday, said despite making 2 million trips, the company's riders had recorded less than 100 incidents. He stressed that less than 7 were serious and required hospital visits, adding that till date, the company had 0 fatalities. Plus TV Africa spoke to Max Okada champion lead Gbolahan Fadipe on this issue.
Surely I felt it wasn't going to affect us since given the fact that our bikes are above the recommended size, the QP capacities recommended by Lagos State government. However, when I found out was across board, I felt bad, like, okay, what am I supposed to do? It's a thing of survival now. I mean, myself and a lot of other riders out there make a living riding across the cities of Lagos. I mean, commuting people, moving people from point to point. We make a living doing that. What are we supposed to start doing afterwards? I mean, it's not. In over 4 years of our existence, we've recorded 0 fatalities, 0 death. The figures seem to me more bogus than real. We've put a lot in place to ensure that our riders drive safely and secured out there, and they don't get involved in accidents. And also, like I said earlier, are we talking about accidents across all modes of transportation? If yes, I mean, why single out Okadas to be punished for an offense all road users have committed? Why would you provide alternatives after taking out what is effective at the moment? I mean, it's just like trying to wean a child of milk. I mean, you're looking at weaning a child of milk without providing what the child will eat. You don't expect the child to stop crying until you provide an alternative. I mean, for me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to take out what's working on the grounds of providing alternatives that you've not even figured out yet. A couple of years ago, the government introduced the restriction of on the highways to just bikes above 200 cc's. I would think the ideal thing to do right now would be to enforce that law, to ensure that only bikes above 200 cc, 200 cubic capacity engine are allowed to ply our highways. I mean, look, given the number of people that benefit from this, given the lack of infrastructure, the road networks are bad, there aren't enough buses. This is supposed to alleviate movement and transportation across the states. Why take it out at the moment? Literally, they've closed all highways. I mean, calling out names is just to make it seem like they've not closed all. They've actually closed all. If you've closed Third Mainland Bridge and all major highways, all bridges across the states, you've literally taken out a source of livelihood. I mean, these are big bikes, power bikes. They're not designed to run short distances. They're designed to run long distances. Taking them out, I mean, blocking this highway simply means you are stifling the business, stifling a source of livelihood. At the moment, only engage the government and appeal on behalf of myself and other champions who make a living from riding across the city. I mean, not just the riders. I'm talking about artisans, the lady on the street that sells hairnets to the riders, the vulcanizer, the engineers that fix the bikes. I mean, it's going to have a very, very it's going to have far-reaching effects, and I'm not sure we've given due thought to the effects that banning Okadas on the highway would have on hundreds of thousands of people who make a living with and around Okadas. I mean, people work in the offices, people move their goods and services with Okadas, deliveries, individuals pay their school fees, their rents, their children's school fees, and make a living, put food on the table with these bikes that you're about to take off the streets of Lagos. Have we thought about replacing, giving alternative source of livelihood? So essentially, we can only appeal to the government to rethink the decision, and perhaps we'll be happy to come to the table to have a conversation around this on how to better structure the whole.
Away from that, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Barrister Charles Ezekwem, on Monday tendered his resignation later, withdrawing from being the party's chairman and member in Imo State. Ezekwem, who led the party to victory in the 2019 gubernatorial election in the state until the Supreme Court sacked the governor, had been the board chairman of the Heartland Football FC. Reacting to the sudden resignation, the publicity secretary of the party, Damian Opara, after a closed-door meeting of some leaders, said though they appreciate the effort and contributions of Barrister Charles during his tenure as the party chairman, his departure posed no threat to the party.
We had a meeting of the steering committee and the appointments of the government. A letter was raised for us by the state secretary of the party. But actually, Mr. Charles resigned his position, both as the state chairman and as member of the party. So actually, we read the letter, they still with mixed feeling, which there's nothing we can do and to accept his resignation and allow him to go and pursue the future in the party. He was a great chairman, a man that led the party to victory. So we wish him well wherever he went.
Speaking further, Demi party supporters are still intact and they still maintain their loyalty regardless of the present situation. He said soon the party will decide on a way forward.
You know, we just had a little backtrack in administration. But in any case, he had left very soon, in no distant time. Martin Chairman will be there to take over the party. It will definitely, some of the friends will feel bad, but the party goes on.
Following the accidental killing of the renowned action
or maybe go